for me, it was a little bit different because I was a swimmer and I swam for YMCA because my high school did not have a swim team. So I was always co-ed. I was co-ed from the time I was 5 years old. My parents put me on the swim team. I started swimming when I was 3, started competing when I was 5. But we talked about the way that women and girls are taught how to treat their bodies at a very, very young age. And not just how to treat their bodies, but how society treats women. And then we started talking about the Women's Basketball League and all of the things going on there, NCAAW. It's like so many letters. So tell me about your experience, like the first thing that you can remember playing soccer when you were growing up, and how like you just felt different than the boys were being treated.
So there's a few things, because I didn't start playing soccer till I was 12.
Okay.
So I was late to athletics. I had been dancing for a long time because I was a girl,
right?
So girls dance.
Sure.
So we'd done ballet, tap, jazz, Irish dance, all of that. That was in our wheelhouse. I was told to do music, things like that, because those were the things that girls did. And then my little brother, who is 4 years younger than me, started playing soccer, and I loved it.
You did.
I just went to all of his games. I was completely obsessed with the sport. And he was allowed to start playing when he was, I think he was 4. And he was so talented that they ended up, by the time he was 8, he was playing on an under 10 or under 11 team because he was so good.
Yeah.
And I would go to all these games and I was just obsessed. And I kept saying, I want to play. And people just kept saying, well, girls don't play soccer.
Really?
And I was like, okay, well, so 12.
Right.
11, 12, I was, do the math. It was 1998, 1999.
Okay.
So you're talking like Mia Hamm.
Yeah.
Was in her prime at that point. 1996, the women's soccer team in Atlanta, like the Atlanta Olympic Games, the women's soccer team, the U.S. women's soccer team won the Olympics. And I was like, this is so cool.
Yes.
1999, they won the World Cup. Iconic moments. And I was like, but girls do play soccer. I've seen them play soccer.
Yeah.
They're famous for it.
Right.
And finally my parents were like, oh, just let her play. She won't stop talking about it.
Was this coming more from your parents or like school?
Just kind of everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, there were like kids at school who played, but yeah, my parents definitely said like, girls don't play soccer. Like you're dancing, you're fine. And I was like, well, I want to play soccer. And finally they gave in. And I played like recreational for a year, totally obsessed.
Yeah.
My brother was on a travel team and I was like, I want to be that good. And it's funny because now looking back at it, I think this is hysterical, but the coach that was assigned to our league, he was actually being punished by the association, the soccer association locally, and they had taken one of his boys' teams from him because he had spoken out against something, and he was a very outspoken person. And they said, we're going to take this team from you. You're going to have to coach girls.
Oh my gosh, that was his disciplinary action, right?
Yeah, like, haha, you now have to coach little girls.
Did you know that as a player?
He told us, I think when we were in high school, because he ended up being our coach for years.
Oh.
And he was actually somebody who ended up completely changing my mindset about how women were treated in the world. And funny because like it was his punishment. So he broke up all the teams and he said, I'm only taking the people who are going to try as hard as they can every single day. And he said to me, you're not the best, but I know that you'll be the last man standing at every game. Wow. And I was like, okay. So like that immediately ingrained that into my personality.
Yeah.
Like I know that if I work hard that I can get somewhere. As we like kept growing up, he still had one boys team and he had us. And he would put our practices back to back. And at the end of their practice and the beginning of ours, he would make us scrimmage them. And we had to play against the boys. And they were older than us, they were bigger than us. And we'd be like, Steve, we can't win. We're not strong enough, we're not big enough. And he was like, girls, figure it out. And every single time, and I finally one day was like, I don't understand what I need to do. And he was like, I need you girls to know that you're not girls who play soccer. You're not girl soccer players. You're soccer players. So get out on that field and act like it. And if you act like it, you will step up and you will play just as well as those boys. And I was like, okay, like, I'm a soccer player. I'm not a girl soccer player. And it gave you like this confidence of, well, he believes that I'm that good.
Yeah.
He believes that I'm an equal with these boys.
Sure.
And needless to say, we started getting tougher. We started playing more boys. And then he started making us play other boys' teams. He wouldn't allow us to bring anything pink to soccer. So my mom bought me a brand new pink soccer ball. He kicked it into the river. She was not thrilled. And he was like, no, we won't be doing any of this like girly stuff.
Yeah.
You're soccer players. That's it. And I was like, I like pink, man. But as I grew up, I realized that that was a huge turning point. That someone actually recognized the fact that we weren't just girls doing something.
Right.
We were just as good, just as talented, if not sometimes more talented. And we also had to figure out a way to be bigger, better, stronger, because we did have a little bit of a disadvantage.
Right.
Like just generally in strength.
Yeah.
Men are going to be stronger than women.
Yeah. But it's funny. I think at that age, like guys usually they grow a lot slower than girls do. So, and this is really hard for me to say because I've been bigger than every human my entire life. But from what I remember, like the guys really didn't start growing until they were older, like late teens. So I would imagine that age, you're almost equals as far as like height, weight, strength.
A little bit, but like I said, they were older than us. So we
so
were
they
12,
were
13, well actually at that time probably 13, 14.
Yeah.
So you're talking 15, 16-year-old boys who were in high school.
Yeah.
They were lifting weights, which was also things that girls didn't do. My high school had weight training for girls and we were always like, oh my God, I'm going to take free period because I don't want to get bulky.
Yeah, that could be a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, so many.
So
we've
true.
We've got limited time.
We have a lot that we can talk about.
But it was just as a child, and then my mom signed me up for soccer camp in England, and I went to England, and my brother was at the same soccer camp, and we walked up, and the coaches literally said to my mom, "She can't play."
Really?
And my mom said, "Why not?" And they said, "She's a girl." And my mom said, "Did I not pay the fee?" And I remember my mom like sticking up for me, and she was like, "I paid the fee. She's flown here from America.
Yeah.
She's doing this." And the head coach, who had been, I think he had trained some of the Manchester United players, he walked over and he was like, "What's the issue?" And my mom was like, "They won't let her play because she's a girl." And he was like, just let her in. It's not a big deal."
So did you play with all the boys?
Yeah.
And were you fine? Like, you held your own?
I mean, they refused to pass me. They were like, "I'm not playing with you. You're a girl," all that stuff. And then when it came to like lunch and snack time, they actually made me eat in the bathroom because I wasn't allowed to be a part of the main camp.
What?
Yeah. By myself.
So not only is this so polarizing that the adults are telling that the girls are over here and the boys are over here, but it's teaching the next generation that we are second best.
Mm-hmm.
So no wonder the guys that are in their 20s, 30s, and our age, right? They look at us differently because that's what they grew up, like we can't necessarily blame them. Like they should grow up and educate themselves and see a little bit differently, sure. But we learn so much as kids, and what we are taught sticks with us for a really long time unless it's untaught.
Right.
So it's not like we can sit here and blame people for doing things that they do because that's pretty much what they learned growing up. But it's so polarizing to split males and females. Like, yes, there's a time and a place when they should be split in certain things.
Right.
But when it comes to sports, I don't think so.